Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the 9th season's return for the Walking Dead television series. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts. We're going to read through some recent interviews from showrunner Angela Kang, who's going to be showrunning for the Walking Dead Season 9 and going forward, weighing in on the new season, as well as taking a look at a new picture of Michonne. Man, so first here we've got this new picture of Michonne. So she's on a horseback. We've got some horse and carriage or horse and buggy here with there's Cindy from the Oceanside in the background. There's Carol. And they haven't released too many extra pictures, just this one. But, of course, wait for next week, guys, because next week is when we get all kinds of awesome releases with Comic-Con. Next Friday, so pretty much a week and a day from today. Next Friday should be the big day where we get to see the Walking Dead Season 9 trailer. So I'm very excited to see the trailer. I can't wait. And that's really when we're probably going to get most of our promo material. Lots of pictures, you know, teaser, trailer, all the good stuff will probably be coming out at Comic-Con with lots of info. Looking forward to this new season. So look forward to lots of videos coming regarding that, and you know, all the different content that we get. We'll make videos on all of it to try to get a good understanding of what the season is going to look like and who's going to be in it. Also, to comment on the picture, she doesn't look too happy, and she's also kind of riding alone as far as, like, you know, there's nobody else there from Alexandria with her. We are to assume, I think, right now, that Carol is still kind of residing at the kingdom. So, yeah, so that's something to ponder as well. And there are a bunch of different interviews online you guys can go ahead and check out from Angela Kang, who is the showrunner for The Walking Dead Season 9 and going forward. So, you know, you can check out all the different ones. There's the one I'll put in the description for you guys, and the one we're going to check out here is from The Hollywood Reporter, which I think is the most, you know, expanded, or it has a lot of information in it for us to kind of read through and give our thoughts on, to give you guys some hints on what we're looking at for this season before the trailer next Friday. But there's lots of other kind of interviews online and other sites that have some with her where she weighs in on kind of the differences in Season 9 after the time skip, because with this next time skip, it puts The Walking Dead, you know, more like 4 years roughly, about roughly over 4 years into the zombie apocalypse. So like maybe 4.5, starting to get close to 5 years. Of time. So as such, you know, you're dealing with certain problems where, you know, your gasoline with your vehicles is not going to work anymore. You know, vehicles really in general are not really going to work much anymore. So you've got a lot of the people traveling around on horseback. You know, just a lot of the things have broken down, so unless they're able to kind of produce them themselves, then it's pretty much all but used up. The environments are breaking down, so we're probably going to see more destroyed buildings and more things that just look more apocalyptic than it ever did before. So there's some different interviews online that you can read through on your own if you want to. I'll link some other ones here as well too. Just about kind of the breaking down of the world and how it's going to look different after the time skip. Okay, so it says, inside The Walking Dead's new era with showrunner Angela Kang. So in her first interview since stepping in for Scott Gimple, Kang talks to THR about taking over the show, cast departures, and Season 9's larger theme. Okay, so let's get into the questions here. So they start off and they kind of are asking her about, okay, so here it is here. You're the 4th showrunner overall, originally brought in under Frank Darabont. She's been with the series like pretty much forever, right? Having worked with all 3 of your predecessors of The Walking Dead, how does your approach compare? So she says, I've learned so much on the job. I came up on this show. The world of The Walking Dead is so strong. It started with such a clear core vision about this world of zombies and the dead, and yet it's not really a show about the horror. It's about these core character relationships and emotional journeys. In that way, I'm staying very true to what we've always had on the show. That said, we are opening a new chapter of the story. Scott Gimple has said Season 8 really closed one chapter of the show, and Season 9 is a new chapter. So, to come into the showrunner role at this point, or at that point, is exciting. We're jumping forward in time, so we get to play with the look and feel of the show, both from a technical level. We review the filming style and continue to shoot on film, but also in terms of the way the stories and things look on screen. And what we're seeing is a little bit different. We're seeing the world start to break down around our characters a bit more. They run into challenges with things like the infrastructure breaking down around them and things that they used to scavenge being in much shorter supply. We get to see a world where they're not relying on unstable gas that's hard to find. They are taming horses, they're pulling wagons, they're fashioning more hand weapons, so they don't have to rely on bullets as much. That's been really fun. We get to play with staying true to the principles of The Walking Dead that people love. It's a new era in terms of where our characters are at and the challenges they're facing. Then there's a question, next one is about kind of her being female, right, and it being a testosterone-fueled show, according to the interviewer. But, you know, again, she's done, I don't know how useful it is. I mean, we just saw All Out War, so obviously this season right here that she's going to be doing, this first season, we don't expect to see as much action as during All Out War. All Out War, the whole season 8 is basically an action fest pretty much all the way through. My opinion is that's not really, you don't really need that testosterone-filled action this season again, too. Also, season 8 of The Walking Dead was not as well received as you would have thought, considering how hard it was to do, right, with all the action and everything. So, you know, even though I personally loved it, you know, even I can see it's probably not right for the show right now anyway. So, and also the fact that, you know, like bringing gender into it, it's not to say that she can't do action or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's not, to me, I don't view it as that useful of a, you know, of a question. Also, she's written some episodes that have action in them as well, too, and lots of horror and stuff like that. So, you know, it's fine. Then we've got, as you head into this major reset, is there a larger theme for Season 9? Then she says there are several things we're dealing with story-wise. One of the major themes we've been talking about is what it means to have a civilization. What are the ways in which different communities develop different philosophies about governing and about dealing with other people? What are the things that we owe to each other as human beings? That's one of the major thematic things that we're playing with this season. It's in line with the way that creator Robert Kirkman structured his comic, where it goes from one man alone to he's looking for his family, he finds his family, but actually finds this larger group. There's this nomadic group, they wind up in a community, they finally find a community, and the world opens up to them. It's like finding different little villages. Now it's that stage of figuring out what it's like to be a larger civilization. They may face some large challenges related to that, so that's what we've really had fun playing with this season. So this one about the larger civilizations, to me, almost makes me think of Commonwealth, right? So that's something right there, and we talked about this in the last video too, is might we see the Commonwealth before the Whispers in the TV series version? And I'm thinking, like, based on that poster and everything, the trailer will give us a better indication. I hope we get to see both kind of going through at the same time. I think that'd be really cool. Then you could just like load it up with all kinds of stuff happening at once, which could be really exciting, you know, give people a lot of content at the same time rather than trying to just focus on one or the other. But we'll see how it goes. And, you know, personally, the Commonwealth would be cool to see as well, too. It's just that's quite a shift from the comic storyline, getting to see the Whispers and then the Commonwealth not until way later on. It's hard to talk about Season 9 without looking at some of the bigger changes from the source material. Okay, this is an interesting question here, guys. The major changes started last season when Chandler Riggs, Carl, was killed off. This year, Lauren Cohan is leaving and on limited time, and Andrew Lincoln is next. Though AMC has yet to confirm the latter, I know you can't address Lincoln's future, but what does The Walking Dead look like without those characters? This is a big reset. Then she says, we don't want to spoil anything with anything that happens in the show. No matter who goes in any given season, we're always having to say goodbye to people. And it's heartbreaking for us as people, but it's always in service of the story. We just hope that people will come along on the ride with us, because I'm very proud of what we're doing. So this is interesting. I like this comment, and I can kind of read into it a little bit, which I can misread too. I might be misreading as well too. But one of the topics we've been focusing on in this last month also is that a lot of people say if Rick is to be killed off, they're not going to continue watching the show. So when she's saying this here about we're hoping that people will come along the ride with us, that almost to me sounds like we're hoping that if it's true that he's leaving, this whole thing is happening, we're hoping that people will still watch after, that happens. So, and again, I could be totally, completely misreading that, but to my ears, when I read that, that's what I think. Next, we have what does the show look like without core characters played by Riggs, Cohan, and Lincoln? This interviewer is is pretty good, right? The way it kind of goes with this one. So it says, we started telling a story at the end of last season without Carl. And since there's so many great characters on the show, different people will step up. It'll never fill the exact gap that a character leaves, but there are other people whose stories will come to the forefront in great ways. With Lauren, she has said that she would like to come back to the show, and we would love to have her back. We think there's more story with Maggie to tell. We already have some plans brewing that I think are pretty cool. So the world of The Walking Dead moves on with whoever we have at the moment. It's what we've always done. Wow, dude. So here she's confirming for us. This is the first confirmation I think we've had from somebody inside the show, and this is she's the boss lady, right? She's the showrunner. So she's saying that basically that's confirming that Lauren Cohan is going to leave this season at some point. It sounds like. But it sounds like with her, they figured out a way to leave the door open so that she could come back later. And they're working on some creative ideas, it sounds like, to bring her back in. Now, the other part she says, so the world of The Walking Dead moves on with whoever we have at the moment. It's what we've always done. So that's really crazy. Like, that almost makes me think, like, you can't say for sure from that she's referring to Rick and having to move on without him. But damn, dude, that's crazy. And then the next one says, how would you describe Rick's journey in I like this guy. or girl, it could be female. How would you describe Rick's journey in season 9, right? Rick opens up the season in a place where things are relatively good and peaceful for him. He made that unexpected decision to let Negan live at the end of season 8. And we'll deal with some of the after effects of that because it was such a momentous thing. And the trauma of losing his son Carl, even with the passage of time, is something that is still painful for him. We're going to see him try to turn that pain into something positive for everybody. Rick will face some real challenges along the way. The thing that I hope the audience will respond to is seeing how Rick's underlying goodness and leadership will shine in moments of great adversity. Rick's underlying goodness and leadership will shine in moments of great adversity. So that almost makes me think of like suicide to save the others, right? That's moments of great adversity. I mean, general answers, so you can read them different ways, and we're all entitled to, but based on these last two questions here, I think are very interesting. Confirming the part about Lauren, not addressing the part directly about Andrew Lincoln, right? But basically saying that The Walking Dead moves on with whoever we have at the moment, and then in the question before that, the way I read that one too, is like, hoping that fans will come along on the ride with us. So, man, a lot of this to me, and again, I've made a lot of videos on this last month, so I could have brainwashed myself with all the different videos we've done about this stuff, so far, guys. So that is possible. I could be totally misreading it, or she could be, kind of answering it generally in this way and me reading it the wrong way. So that's possible, but certainly leave your comments below. Let me know how you guys break this one down for yourselves and what you think about this. Really crazy, man. It moves on with whoever we have at the moment. It's what we've always done. And then the question of Rick's underlying goodness and leadership will shine in moments of great adversity. That almost has to be his final moments. Okay, a couple more here before we... there's some about whispers and stuff, so we should go into that a little bit. It says, Daryl Norman Reedus, who doesn't exist in the comics, and Carol Melissa McBride, who is dead at this point in the source material, could be the only remaining original stars left should Lincoln leave. Do you feel a sense of freedom in not having to stick to a lot of the source material in this situation. And she says, I love the comics. I legitimately read every issue of the comic before, or she did read every issue of the comic before I knew a job could possibly existed on The Walking Dead. For us, we've always taken incredible inspiration from the comics, just as fans, but also as people creating the TV world of The Walking Dead. It's a different medium. Different things work on screen than work on the comic book panels, and vice versa. We've always had to remix things, and I think that's one of the things that keeps the show exciting and fresh. And Kirkman himself has always been like, quote unquote, yeah, go ahead, change that up. I wrote that 10 years ago. I would have done it much better now. He has such a great attitude about it. I do love writing for these characters that have had different journeys than the comic book characters, or exist or don't exist from the books. So that's one of the really fun aspects of the storytelling of this. We've never been completely tethered to the events of the comic. We obviously want to tell the stories that we ourselves are so excited about and look forward to, but we always hope to mix in the show's reality because it's so rich in another direction at this point. And then looking ahead, this is the question now. Looking ahead, are the next major... Okay, the Whisperers are the next major villains in the comics. How are you approaching that arc? Have you started casting? She says, I don't want to spoil what exactly is going to happen in the future. What I can say is that there will be some really fun stuff from the comics that hopefully our viewers enjoy. And yeah, so I won't go through absolutely every part here with you guys, because there's a lot more to read. There's a bunch more as well. Yeah, certainly if there's any of these other ones here that you guys kind of want to go over and kind of break down, there's some about Denai Guerrera, and then some of the other things here. Let's do one last one. There's been some concern that given how her feature film career has taken off and Andy's likely departure, that she could be next. Will she continue to be a series regular this season? And then she answers about Michonne or Denai Guerrera. She's definitely a series regular this season. And beyond that, that is out of my realm. We just know that we have lots of story we want to tell with Michonne. So the rest you guys can go through and check out for yourselves. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Like, what do you think about it? How do you read this when you read through these answers from her? What does it sound like to you? Is this just more confirmation? I know that the Skybound Walking Dead comic book account came out and said, don't believe everything you hear, this kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. I get that. But based on this interview here, man, it really sounds like the interviewer was convinced, and then it sounded like she was kind of, not giving it away, right? You're not doing that, but at the same time, not going against it either. And then the things that she said could kind of be read as like they have to move on with whoever they have. They hope everybody will keep watching. And, there's interesting new direction and new look for the series is what we're going to see. So that'll be it for my thoughts on this kind of interview with showrunner for The Walking Dead Season 9, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to thumb it up below. Certainly leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Check out the Trev Chan 2 store if you guys want to buy a Trev Chan 2 t-shirt. Link will be in the description, as well as the link in the description to this interview and a few others. That's it for this one, guys. We'll see you again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. I'll see you soon.